Islam? Islam. At this time, without any further delay, I yield the floor to our Grand Governor, my brother, your brother, Sheik Heru, Ranesi-El. Islam.
Islam.
Islam, boys.
Islam.
Please be seated. I rise, giving all praises to Allah, the Father of the universe, cherisher and sustainer of all the boundless universes. Allah is the author, creator, governor of the worlds, almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. All praises are due to Allah. Islam?
Islam.
We extend the highest of honors to his holy and divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, founder, the Moorish, Science Temple of America. Islam?
Islam.
We extend high honors as well to his forerunner, the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, the founder of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, who did indeed warn and stir up the nations. Islam?
Islam.
We extend high honors as well to the Moorish flag, the red flag with the green 5-pointed star in the center, the 5 points representing love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. These principles are the 5 highest principles known to man. Islam?
Islam.
We also extend high honors to the American flag, also known as the Stars and Stripes. This flag exists as a constant reminder that the European owed you the Moors with compound interest. Islam?
Islam.
This is also the flag of our birth. We extend high honors to the Noble Sheik staff and Noble Vanguard staff who keep the peace. And last but not least, we give honors to you, the Eels and Bays, for without you there is no Moorish movement. How's everyone in the holy night?
All is true.
Praise Allah, praise Allah. Tonight, I'd like to draw from a chapter in our Quran, of the Moorish, our Holy Quran, of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that is not often read. And this is chapter 27, the holy unity of the rich and the poor. Islam, Moors?
Islam.
See, our Prophet Noble Drew Ali gives us divine instruction. And pursuant to these divine instructions, we have certain marching orders that we must carry out.
Islam.
Right? Every soldier must know his marching orders, his or her marching orders. Islam?
Islam.
You don't know your marching orders when it comes time to be in the field and conduct yourself as a Moorish American Muslim, you won't know how to govern yourself accordingly. Islam?
Islam.
So let's see what our marching instructions from our holy and divine, our beloved holy and divine Prophet Noble Drew Ali has to say on this subject. Islam?
Islam.
The holy unity of the rich and the poor. Verse 1. The man to whom Allah hath given riches and blessed with a mind to employ them aright is peculiarly favored and highly distinguished. He looketh on his wealth with pleasure because it affordeth him the means to do good. He protecteth the poor that are injured. He suffereth not the mighty to oppress the weak. He seeketh out objects of compassion. He inquireth into their wants. He relieveth them with judgments and without ostentation. Ostentation just means without show. Islam?
Islam.
He assisteth and rewardeth merit. He encourageth ingenuity and liberally promoteth every useful design.
Islam.
He carrieth his own great works. His country is enriched, and the labor is employed. He formeth new schemes, and the arts receive improvement. Thank you, Brother Akil.
Islam.
I'm going to be reading this Quran. Y'all persecuted that more for the arts. I love you, brother. You and your prophet. Praise Allah. All right? You know I got your back, Lord. He considered the superfluities of his table as belonging to the poor of his neighborhood, and he defraudeth them not. The benevolence of his mind is not checked by his fortune. He rejoiceth therefore in riches, and his joy is blameless. But woe unto him that heapeth up wealth in abundance, and rejoiceth alone in the possession thereof. Let me pause there. Moorish American Muslims are not against wealth. That's not what that verse said, right? So woe to him that heaps it up and just rejoices in the fact that I got it.
Islam.
And is not doing anything with it.
Islam.
Islam?
Islam.
Verse 9. That grindeth the face of the poor, and considereth not the sweat of their brows. He driveth on oppression. So this is the tyrant, right? Without feeling. The ruin of his brother disturbeth him not. The tears of the orphan he drinketh as milk. The cries of the widow are music to his ears. His heart hardened with the love of wealth. No grief or distress can make impression upon it. But the curse of iniquity pursueth him. He liveth in continual fear. The anxiety of his mind and the rapacious desires of his own soul take vengeance upon him for the calamities he has brought upon others. Oh, what are the miseries of poverty in comparison with the gnawings of this man's heart? Let the poor man comfort himself. Yes, rejoice, for he hath many reasons. He sitteth down to his morsel in peace. His table is not crowded with flatterers and devourers. He is not embarrassed with a train of dependents, nor teased with the clamors of solicitations. Debarred from the dainties of the rich, he escapeth also their diseases. The bread that he eateth is not so sweet to his taste. The water he drinketh is not so pleasant to his thirst. Yea, far more delicious water than the richest draughts of the luxurious. His labor preserveth his health, and procureth him a repose, to which the downy bed of sloth is a stranger. He limiteth his desires with humility, and the calm of contentment is sweeter to his soul than all the acquirements of wealth and grandeur. Let not the rich therefore presume on his riches, nor the poor on his poverty. Yield to despondence, for the providence of Allah dispenseth happiness to them both. Islam? Surely Allah speaks the truth to his holy divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali Islam. Now, why am I reading this? It's because we have, let me draw on our brother Jesus. In the New Testament of the Bible, the brother Jesus said that the poor will be with you always. Islam? By the very nature of the plane in which we have incarnated, right? And survival of the beast being the law, you have those that will capitalize on opportunities and subjugate others under their foot. That's the nature of the realm that we're in, right? But the calling of the Muslim, being Allah's successor in the earth, it is your duty to execute the laws as just and as equitable as Allah would if Allah could be manifested within a human being. And clearly that's the case because we're here. Islam? So what is our obligation? So whether you're reading the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, whether you're reading the Great Quran of Muhammad, the Quran of Mecca, whether you're reading any of the biblical texts, one thing that we always see is that it is the duty of those who exist in a state of right, which those say the righteous, right, to make sure that to secure those who have no protections for themselves, right? Why the Moorish American Muslim, the Moorish American specifically, has the duty of securing those and redeeming those who are referred to as Negroes, blacks, and coloreds, right? Because rich and poor is also a mindset. Islam? See, in the language of your forefathers, there were two words. In the language of Arabic, the word for rich is the word ghani. Everyone, ghani. Ghani means, actually translated, is closer to wealthy. Okay? This is the word where they actually get the name of the country called Guinea from. Guinea and New Guinea, or Papua New Guinea. This means wealth, right? And then you have the word mesquine. Everyone, mesquine. Mesquine means impoverished, or literally to lack finance. Islam? Right? So all of the prophets that came to make sure that a delicate balance was struck between the rich and the poor. Ghani wa maskin. Islam? Right? To show you this is not a new principle, I'm going to draw from the Psalms. So in your Quran in the Moorish Science Temple of America, it said that Jesus and Barata sat and read the Jewish Psalms together. That's right. Can we read the Jewish Psalms together? Islam. All right? Islam. All right, let's draw from Psalms 49. Prophet David, right? It says, "Hear this, all people. Give ear, all inhabitants of the world. Children of the earth and sons of men, rich and poor together. My mouth shall speak wisdom, and the meditation of my heart shall be of understanding. I will incline my ear to parables," or the maxims of truth, right? "I will chant my proverbs upon the harp. I will fear not in the days of evil, when the iniquity of my enemies shall surround me. They who trust in their own strength and boast of themselves in the multitude of their riches. A brother cannot save a brother, nor a man give to Allah a ransom for himself. For the redemption of their souls is precious. Do good forever, and you shall live forever, and not see corruption. but you will see wise men die. Likewise, the fool and the weak-minded shall perish and leave their wealth to others. Their graves shall be their only habitations forever, and their dwelling places throughout generations. Their marked graves will be their only remembrances on earth. Nevertheless, such a man is not sustained by his honor. His end will be as the beasts. He will perish. This their way is their folly. In the end, demented, they will graze like cattle. Like sheep, they are consigned to the grave. Death shall feed on them, and the upright shall have dominion over them in the morning, meaning that new day. The grave shall consume their beauty, and they shall be cast out from their glory. But Allah will redeem my soul from the power of the grave. He will raise me up. Resurrection is a fact. Islam? I'm not talking about no spook resurrection, right? Because we were all once dead. Islam? And we were resurrected. Islam? Be not afraid when one is made rich, when the glory of his house is increased. For when he dies, he shall carry nothing away, neither shall his glory descend after him. For while he lived comfortably. He praised you when you favored him. See, that's that same rich man that the prophet Noble just talked about. Islam? It says, his end shall be as his father's was before him. They shall never see light. Men cannot depend on his honor for consolation, for if he does, he resembles the wild beasts. Islam? Prophet Noble instructs, he says that mercy will be left to those who have no mercy in them. Islam? All right? So when we look at the state of the world, clearly we see that the power has been placed in the wrong hands. Right? Now, in retrospect, if you look at everything, right, it's easy to say when you're not in a position of power what you would do if you were in power. It's very easy to do that because the pressure is not on you to perform. Islam? Now, if you don't have a center, right, of what the Quran of Mecca calls the Sirat al-Mustaqim, that straight and narrow path, you know, or where Jesus said, you know, broad is the way that leads to destruction, but narrow is the way that leads to salvation. Islam? But if you don't have that, you know, aligned in yourself, when you come in power, you will become the tyrant. The end of our forefathers' empire, the end of the Moorish Empire, we had ruled so long we got comfortable. You see? And the problem with comfort is that you're not on what we were saying in Arabic, on your deen like you should be. And your deen is the means by which you are judged. This is the means by which the world knows you to be who you say you are. Right? And this is not known, you are not known in that arena by the words of your mouth. You are known by the actions of your form. You know, activated by the Spirit and the Holy Breath. Islam? All right? Now, to drive the point home further, I know I'm bouncing around, and like I like to say, y'all can keep up. Right? Chapter 8 of the Holy Quran, the Moorish Science Temple of America, only 2 verses. Chapter 8, for non-Roman readers, that's VII. You know, I like to call this the solutions chapter. Right? Because, you know, people say, oh, we always talk about the problems, what about the solution? Oh, we got that too. Islam? But I'm only going to hit you with, you know, do your own study on this chapter in your leisure. But we're going to draw from 2 ayat to 2 verses at this point. Chapter 8. Everyone say Islam when you're there? Islam. All right, verse 13. If you would serve Allah, who speaks within the heart, just serve your near of kin, those who are no kin, the stranger at your gates, the foe who seeks to do you harm, assist the poor, help the weak, do harm to none, and covet not what is yours. Islam? So if someone were to ask you, you know, like the Lieutenant Grand Governor demonstrated, you know, that many of us don't like to demonstrate the aspect of our divine creed, right? We love the national side. We love being Moorish. We love the fezzes and demonstrate we're not Negroes and black, okay? But what about the part that keeps that in order, which is your divine creed? That's right. Right? If someone's to ask you, well, if we're not demonstrating an era of Islam, right? And the Prophet Noble in the Holy Quran and the Moorish Science Temple of America, in the Quran questions, asks us the question, what is your religion? And the answer is Islamism, right? Which means, so why is it Islamism instead of Islam? Anyone? Floor's open. Islam.
Islam, because everything that's in the let me rise. Because it's an active portion of Islam. It's not a passive portion.
Islam. Praise Allah. Short to the point. Hey. All right? Well, like the Prophet Noble Rally also says that, we must promote and practice. All right? So if somebody asks you that, I don't like to, if somebody's asking me about the Prophet, I like to use the Prophet to answer.
Islam.
I don't like to come out of my own portion of understanding.
Islam.
Everything should be rooted, in the immutable laws of the Most High.
Islam.
Islam? All right? So, verses 13 and 14 give you a clear-cut description, of what Islamism is. And it's simple. Now, of course, it's supported by everything else that's within this text. But those two verses right there give you clear marching orders as far as the work that you're called to do. Islam?
Islam.
All right? Now, let's go to chapter 46. We're going to put this Quran to use tonight. Chapter 46. All right? That's the one called the beginning of Christianity. All right? Just a few verses there. All right? If I say Islam, you're there? All right? We're going to start at verse 5. All right? And we still on the science of the rich and poor. Islam, Lawrence? Verse 5. The holy teaching of Jesus was to the common people. Jesus also means what?
Justice.
Justice. Islam. So we can very well say the holy teaching of justice. Right? And justice, when every man gets his due portion. Islam?
Islam.
The holy teaching of Jesus was to the common people, which represents the spirit of the law, to redeem them from under the great pressure of the hands of the unjust, that the rulers and the rich would not oppress the poor. Also that the lion and the lamb may lay down together, and neither would be harmed when the morning came. Islam? All right? So, let's keep going. These teachings were not accepted by the rulers, neither by the rich, because they loved the principles of the Ten Commandments. Through the Ten Commandments, the rulers and the rich live, while the poor suffer and die. And that's through the strict interpretation of the letter of the law. Islam? See, Moses, if you're not in place in this political realm, the people will continue to get oppressed. Okay? Because they're the ones that are in office don't have the higher degrees of the spirit of the law and how to apply it. So if you're not at the table and laws are being made as well as enforced, the abuse will continue. The Moors have to be present, or those influenced by the Moors.
Islam.
Why you have to get into politics.
That's right.
Islam? See, the brother Jesus 2,000 years ago, he may not have been, but he had the ear of politicians, tax collectors, and so on and so forth. Even some Roman centurions.
That's right.
Islam?
Islam.
So he worked in various different spheres and a lot of different things. You got to know what you're reading when you're reading that book, Bible. Right? How many people heard of the Sermon on the Mount?
Islam.
Right? Blessed are the peacemakers for them. Blessed are the, and blessed are the, he wasn't speaking to everybody there.
That's right.
He was speaking to degrees, all right. Right? But he was speaking to a select group. Right? And then he had an inner 12, what they call it 12 disciples. And he had a group that was smaller than that. Islam?
Islam.
Like they talk about, the times when the disciples went out and was, casting out demons and healing people and all that kind of stuff. And there was another group of people casting out demons in Jesus' name. But they didn't know who they were. And they stopped them and they came back to Jesus. There was these people casting out demons in your name.
Yeah.
And we stopped them. No, don't do that. Anybody that's not against you is for you. Meaning that you don't know what I taught them, leave them alone. I gave you certain degrees. You pay attention to what I told you to do.
Islam.
Islam? All right? But let's move forward. Let's go to verse 8. It says, the lamb is the poor people. The lion is the rulers and the rich. And through love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, all men are one and equal to seek their own destiny. Islam? So those 5 principles are the glue that keep the rulers and the rich and the poor in a delicate balance. Islam? All right? It says, and to worship under their own vine and fig tree, after the principles of the holy and divine laws of their forefathers. Islam, Moors? All nations of the earth in these modern days are seeking peace, but there is but one true and divine way that peace may be obtained in these days, and it is through love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, being taught universally, say that again, universally to all nations, in all lands. So y'all thought y'all just had work to do on Cleveland Avenue, or in the city of Atlanta, or just in the United States of America. But see, that fez the prophet crowned you with, and those turbans with crescent pins that are supposed to go on them and all that, Those garments, ought to represent degrees, right? With marching orders and information that is universal in design that you are supposed to take all over the planet. Charity begins at home, right? And you got to start where you receive your nationality card at. You start there, and from there you can branch outward. Islam? We have to get a good comprehension of what wealth is and its use. See, the Prophet Noble Ali, we don't hear this word much, but the Prophet uses it. And the word is preach. Most Americans, you'll hear more, demonstrate more, or we demonstrate our portions, understand, and so on and so forth. But the Prophet actually used the word preach. That's right. In one area. He said nothing needs to be preached about more than what? Economic security. Islam? Because once you have these principles of economic security in place, you understand what it really is, right? You can begin to literally redeem your people back. And the word redeem means to purchase back. It's an economic term. Islam? So we have to get the economic boogeyman out of our minds. The fear of dealing in these areas. The fear of putting your pennies, nickels, and dimes together, right? In a pot for a greater cause. Islam? Because even if, you want to solicit government for, finances and stuff like that, that takes money. You aware of that? Like, it takes money to get on the radar of politicians.
That's right.
See, politicians aren't really, you can have good intentions all day long, right? But if you don't have a war chest, right, you cannot bend the air, you can't even get the attention of a politician. Islam wars? You might get a conversation, but within about 3 minutes that he or she is going to give you, that's all you're going to get, right? Within that time, they've learned and mastered how to ask particular questions to see if you're worth continuing on. Islam? Right? So these are things that we have to get in order, all right, in terms of our understanding of them, all right? And I'm doing this from a divine creed perspective, all right? Because we've tried to do it from Negro, black, and colored, and it didn't work. Islam? We've heard of Black Wall Street. Why is it not still here? We've heard of Rosewood. Why is it not still here? We've heard of Auburn Avenue. Why is it not still here? You could blame the European. You could do that. Right. He was a part of it, right? He wasn't the only catalyst.
Hey, that's right.
There was a lot of principles that we weren't living by in those territories that brought that negative energy we call European to it.
Holy breath.
Islam? So we don't like we like the victim mentality. We've been taught to be victims. That's right. So we blame the effect and not the cause. Islam? At this point, I'd like to draw from the Holy Quran of Mecca, Surah 18, starting at verse 33. Right? Actually, let me go to verse 32. It says, and put forward to them the example of 2 men. To one of them we had given 2 gardens of grapes, and we had surrounded both with date palms, and had put between them green crops of cultivated fields. Each of those 2 gardens brought forth its produce, and failed not in the least therein. And we caused a river to gush forth in the midst of them. And he had property or fruit, and he said to his companion in the course of mutual talk, I am more stronger than you in wealth, and stronger in the respect of men. And he went into his garden while in a state of pride and disbelief, unjust to himself. He said, I think not this will ever perish, and I think not the hour will ever come. And if indeed I am brought back to my sustainer, or Lord, they say, on the day of resurrection, I shall surely find him better than this when I return to him. His companion said to him during his talk with him, do you disbelieve in him who created you out of dust, created your father Adam, then out of the mixed drop of male and female, then fashioned you into a man? But as for my part, I believe that he is Allah, my sustainer, O Lord, and none shall I associate as partner with my sustainer, O Lord. It was better for you to say, when you entered your garden, that which Allah wills will come to pass. There is no power but with Allah. If you will see me less than you in wealth and children, it may be that my Lord will give me something better than your garden, and will send it on torment or bolt from the sky, and then it will be as a barren, slippery earth, or the water thereof of the gardens becomes deep sunken underground, so that you will never be able to seek it. So his fruits were encircled with ruin, and he remained with remained clapping his hands with sorrow over what he had spent upon it, while it was all destroyed on its trellises. And he could only say, would that I had ascribed no partners to my Lord. And he had no group of men to help him against Allah, nor could he defend or save himself. There under their resurrection, protection, power, authority, and kingdom will be for Allah alone, the true God. He, Allah, is the best for reward and the best for the final end. La ilaha illallah, none has the right to be worshipped but Allah. Islam, boys? So we don't put our faith in material items, right? Our material items, like the reformer known as Muhammad Ahmed, who was known as the Mahdi of the Sudan, in his book that he wrote called the Ratib, which means the unshakable, once said that wealth is given to you by Allah that you would do the right thing with it. And that wealth is financial, spiritual, right? That wealth is knowledge, right? That wealth is children. That wealth is anything that you've been given that you didn't come into this world with. It was on loan to you that you do the right thing with it, right? Anybody ever had, money was good, money was flowing, right? And it got good till you got to spend it, right? And then calamity comes, boom, out of nowhere. It didn't come out of nowhere. You know it's going to come. But we got comfortable, right? And now we find ourselves, without. And it's ironically, during that time, is when we find ourselves to be the most spiritual. Oh, Allah, what am I going to do? Oh, Lord, what is we going to do? Islam? But we have to keep in mind and keep these things in balance. We have to study, where our forefathers fell, where they failed, right? And we have to keep in mind that when we honor the ancestors, right, that's the big thing now, we honor the ancestors. Our Sheik, right? Honor to those who perform such, ritual. But at the same time, we have to remember the fact that not all of our ancestors were honorable.
That's right.
Can I say that?
Yeah.
Can I say that some of our forefathers were snakes and vipers? And a bunch of things that we don't need to invoke, right? So you have to be very specific as far as in terms of what ancestors you're invoking, what energies you're having around you, all right? Whose memory you're latching hold to. Islam? We're talking about Allah's Moors. We're talking about the ancient fathers. We're not talking about the Moors that were slave drivers, that were involved in slavery. The forefathers were involved in that, right? We're not talking about the ones that set their brothers up, made pacts with the European Christian nations to subject their brother, right? So they can have personal power. Those are not the Moorish fathers that we're invoking. That's not why we had these feathers on our head, right? We're talking about the ones that uplifted fallen humanity. That is an ancient mission statement. That's not new, right? And the prophet gave you the specific mission statement of what? Uplifting fallen humanity and doing what? Teaching those things that what?
Not necessary.
To do what?
To be better citizens.
To make better citizens.
To make better citizens.
Exactly, to make our people better citizens. So, it's both of those things. It's not either or, right? So it is indeed divine and national. Islam? All right? That's my measure for it. Nothing too deep tonight, right? Because a lot of times, I was talking to a minister friend of mine. He made an excellent point. He said a lot of times, people overload the people with information, but the attention span, especially nowadays, is very short.
Right.
So upon your walking away, how much of that stuff are you really going to remember and be able to apply, right? Because see, what we talked about tonight, we're clear that when we leave here, we have to do more in the realm of politics. We have to begin to identify and enumerate what it is exactly we want and need as Moorish Americans. Islam? There was a question that was asked, what is a Moorish American food? Right? And everybody got kind of quiet. I don't know about y'all in this temple, we got a couple of dishes. Sister Tahira, don't be looking. There's some Moorish oatmeal burger floating around here. And I'm mad because I ain't had none in quite some time. And I'm protesting about the Drew Ali, the noble Drew Ali oatmeal burger. Okay? The Marcus Garvey naan-bread pizza. I ain't pointing no names. I'm not looking at nobody. Oh, we got some culture up in here. Islam? All right? But I've been petitioning for quite some time. And can we get a Moorish recipe book? We publish books, literature. Can we get a Moorish recipe book? Right? Some of us want to eat right, but don't have the recipes. and too lazy to go online because a lot of them are on the internet, right? But can we have our own recipe book, right? So we can eat to live, if I may borrow the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's phrase, instead of eating to die. Islam? You know, this is work, again, that we know we need to do. But until we do it, we're still Moorish Americans in Negro garment. Because there's no reason that we should suffer from things. Like example, our Puerto Rican brothers and sisters, and shout out to Puerto Rico. Shout out, honors, and prayers to Puerto Rico, who got hit with that storm so bad, well, they named Maria, that they're 100% out of power, the entire island. It won't have power for 6 months. See, ladies, let me have a moment of silence for that. I felt that moment of silence for that. Islam? Because at this point, I'm quite sure there were wealthy people on that island. The name of the island means rich port. That's what Puerto Rico means, rich port, right? But right now, the rich and the poor are equal. How much did the wealth of those who in Puerto Rico, how much did that wealth matter when the wind and the water came? Right? And I'm quite sure that, some try to leverage their influence. Look, I got $1 million right now if I can get a boat out of here. We can't get a boat? What are you talking about? What boats? Everything's underwater. Islam? The wind tore up the boats. Islam? So now everybody's equal within a matter of hours. So you have to put your faith in things that are eternal, and not measured up by time. Islam, and we're being given examples all over the place.
That's right.
We have a Moorish literature around here? Up here?
Should be more.
If not, can I get one from the Grove? Thank you, Sheik. And I know I said I was done. That's all I had. But when you work for Allah, it ain't about your time. Islam? All right? All right. In the article that the Sheik was reading, Divine Warning by the Prophet for the Nations, right? If you go, if you have the one issued by Temple number 19, go to page 5. Go to the second paragraph. I'm just going to hit that paragraph. The Prophet Noble Ali said, of course, there's oral statements. He is, people say that he said that if you doubt that I'm a prophet, watch my prophecies. Right? This paragraph says, so there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to redeem, there's that word again, that which was lost, and it is through the above statements. Then the lion and the lamb, back to that rich and poor again, can lie down together in yonder hills, right? And neither will be harmed because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. He's talking about here. And in those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. But if the above principles are not carried out by the citizens and my people in this government, the worst is yet to come, which is now, not future, right? The worst is yet to come because the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America by my people, and this great sin must be removed from the land to save it from enormous earthquakes, diseases, etc. 1928. Wasn't no tornadoes or hurricanes coming back to back in 1928 hitting America, right? So this is happening right now, and he charged and judged us for that. He didn't say nothing about no European in there.
That's right.
Because it is you that is connected to the weather patterns of the earth. Right? You are the ones who had the ability to work in harmony with nature in ancient times. When they say, the onlooker, the uninitiated would say, oh, they're controlling the weather. No, we weren't. We're working in harmony because we're connected to the universe. Islam? But when you're operating in sin and disobedience, it says every nation has suffered slavery. So the subjection and the anguish that's being felt by those in Puerto Rico is just the beginning. Right? It happened in Texas. Right? They say over 100,000 homes lost in Texas. Houston. Right? Y'all saw that storm that came through. How many people's power went out? How was that? Sitting in the dark for how many days? What's the longest? How many days, Sister Tanya? 2? Sister Lamadia?
I said for 1 day.
1 day? Sheik Rashid?
2 days.
2 days? But Lieutenant, y'all were good?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so were we. Praise Allah. Praise Allah. I made dua for y'all. We made prayer for y'all. Allah, please, thank you, But we're aware it could have been us too.
Yeah.
Very aware of that. Islam. But the point is more is, you know, the times don't allow for us to be playing games, right? And they really don't. You know what I'm saying? And truth be told, we're supposed to be along much further than we are right now. You know, had we listened, what can you imagine if we would have listened in 1928? And in 1929, when the Prophet passed form, the Moorish Americans didn't fall into civil war and start killing each other in the streets, murdering cops, and kidnapping each other, putting each other in trunks, and you know, bombing temples, and all this stuff. This is all history. Why we know the American government knows who y'all are. They know the history, right? And it's a side of us they don't want to wake up again, and that's that war side. They don't want to see that side of us. You know, because they know who our forefathers were, and that gene is still in us. So we don't want to, that's why we have so many words for peace in our language. Islam, Assalamu alaikum, Shalom, Alafia. Islam? All because we just want some tranquility. I want my section where we can dwell in peace. Me and my family can be peaceful. We link up with you and your family, y'all can be peaceful. And we establish a community. Over here, we don't have certain stuff. Give honors to the Nation of Islam out of Detroit. Them and give honors to Grand Sheik Fuqua, because them and the Nation of Islam linked up. I don't have the total details of the situation, but apparently it seems to be that a member of the FOI's car was shot up by some Asiatics. But the brother, Allah spared his form. Not a bullet hit the brother, right? But the next day, not 2 days later, not a week later, not we're gonna sit down and have a meeting. The next day, the FOI and the Moorish Science Temple of America was in the streets asking people in the community, do y'all know where this brother's at? See, and it's a presence, it's a power of seeing functional unity, or as Brother Raphael likes to say, fezzes and bow ties in the street, resolute for one purpose. Right? Because when people see that, they're not worried about what we're talking about in doctrine. They're like, man, them brothers are strong, they together. They front line, they trying to figure out how to stop this mess in our community. Right? But once again, it's Islam leading the charge.
Islam.
It's always been Islam leading the charge. I don't know what it is, what Allah put in this thing. Right? But it's something that removes fear. Right? It's something that's about action in Islam. Okay? So all across the nation, I've been seeing members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, members of the Nation of Islam working together. Right? And you know, we fell right into that spirit here. We didn't even know what they were doing, but we went and did doing what we're doing here. And it's falling right. It's one mind. There's only but one truth. Islam? So be prepared to see alliances that you may not have thought of. All right? And you know, be comfortable in your own skin, because you're going to be around other Asiatics with other customs. But as long as, like the brother Jesus said, if they're not against you, they're for you, and you got work to do. And we have work to do together. Islam. And the area, don't be afraid that areas that you're weak at or weak in, if those groups are strong in those areas, you sit down and have them instruct you in those areas, so that way you can adopt that discipline. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you an example. If we had a problem with the cultivation of discipline in brothers, right? And the vanguards, the muftis, the Moorish Science Temple of America wanted to drill and train with the members of the Fruit of Islam, Brother Lieutenant, would that pose a problem?
Not at all, bro.
We don't have no problem. And we would adopt some ways. Some of the stuff we move, the way we move, they might adopt. Right? This is what nations do. What do you think the United Nations is? Islam? When nations have more efficient ways of doing things, they get together and other nations adopt it. And they get a general working protocol for everyone. Right? That's what these are movements, not stagnants. If it's not moving, it's dead. Okay? And you know, we just have to remember those things in those regards, and you know, shake off the thing that we've adopted some short time ago, where it just became a philosophical debate or build or these YouTube discussions, and it just goes on forever and nothing comes out of it. We got to end that now and bring those together that are focused on action and willing to get something done. That if a call went out like that tomorrow, right? I give an example. How many nights ago? 2 nights? 2 nights ago.
2 nights. Yeah.
I'm gonna bring it into my night. Had a long day shop, exhausted, other stuff going on, whatever. I gotta take care of this guy, whatever. Go home, chill. Call. I usually turn my ring off, but Spirit said pick it up. Picked it up. Some of the members needed aid and assist, right? Where you at? What you need? What time you need me to be there? All right, I'm there. Boom, on the way. And see, you got to be ready to mobilize at any moment, right? Especially when, if, it has to do with, one of us being stranded out there, right? Because don't nobody sympathize just because you're Moorish American. It's some wild beasts out there, and some of them look like us.
That's right.
Okay, so we have to be willing, ready, willing, and able to defend and protect ourselves at all times. Circle those wagons, right? And another thing, just in terms of strategy that I really want us to work on, because the way we're mobilized right now is inefficient. And we have to work on a workable model of living closer together. Okay, I know that's something we haven't talked about, but response time for any call should be under 20 minutes. And that's making it broad, because we need to be able to immediately be there, right? But if it's over 20 minutes, something might happen and somebody's life could be lost. Islam? Let something go down on Buford Highway in the Mexican area, right? Something happened on the Mexican. You can see help coming from everywhere because they all live right there. Or Little Korea further up on Buford Highway, all right? Or the Brazilian side off of, what was that, Powers Ferry? All the Brazilians live right there, right? But the Moorish Americans, we're real spread out. I'm in that too. Okay, so I'm not speaking on no high camel here, right? But we have to. Even the prophet said more should live close together. You know what I'm saying? So this is something we have to work on, and that should actually be, at least a midterm goal. All right, but we have to get on that, because these are those days and times where, our very lives may depend on us doing and following these instructions the way they were given, not us remixing them according to our own understanding. Islam, and that's me pleading with the Moors, because it's not a game. Islam? Are there any questions? I'd like to welcome our visitor here. Thank you, my brother, for coming. All right, how you enjoy yourself?
I'm enjoying it, taking it all in.
They treat you pretty good for a guy?
Indeed.
Praise the Lord.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, we'll make sure, allow willing you return. When you return, bring some people with you. Bring your family with you. Bring your loved ones around. They'll be safe. Trust me, these brothers ain't gonna let nothing happen to them. At least while we're here, we'll make sure you get to the car. Now after that, it's up to you. Islam? Praise Allah. All right, and with that, I'll lower the meeting. Islam, Moors? Islam. Islam? 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 Islam. Islam. Moorish Science Temple of America, Noble Drew Ali founder, Chicago, Illinois, March 11th, 1929. A warning from the prophet to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must put an end to all radical and agitating speech while on their jobs, homes, or on the public streets. We advocate peace and not destruction. Stop trying out your cards with the Europeans, for it causes confusion. There has been much confusion caused by members trying out their cards. The cards are for your salvation. Failure of obeying my orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members that seek to hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet, or to violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet, and if they lose confidence in their prophet, give up your card and button, cease wearing your turban or fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. For this is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet is sending out a divine plea to all true Moorish Americans that they may do their part in protecting the prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace. Noble Drew Ali. Islam? 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 Islam. Islam. All praise are due to Allah, the highest of honors, to his holy divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Islam? Once again, thanking you all, extending honors to you for coming out on a Friday night. And let us look at these meetings as planning time, right? And we're calling on each one of you who are present, right? And all of those who are within the sound of your voice, right? To bring your skill set to the movement, right? Each one of us has something that Allah has entrusted us with. I'll give you an example. I dealt with a mechanic earlier, had to do with one of our vehicles. That mechanic, very trusted friend of mine, he's deaf in one ear, okay? Now we know that when Allah takes, a particular ability from you, he gives you others. right? This brother is a master mechanic in ways that I don't understand some of the stuff that he does, right? But we have to go out and find ones with trades and skills that can help us build our portion of the nation, right? So we need the carpenters, the electricians, the plumbers. We need the bankers, the politicians. We need, what else do we need? See, it's taking too long.
Educators.
Educators. What else do we need?
Doctors,
Doctors. You know what else we need? Husbands. Wives.
babies.
Say that again. Husbands and wives. Islam? The Prophet said, take unto thyself a wife and obey the ordinance of Allah. Islam? All right? Hint, wink, wink, so on and so forth. We need to get some obligation ceremonies going on in this temple. Islam? I do them on the outside, isn't that right, Brother Jabbar? Come here. Islam. But, you know, we need to get something going on in this temple here. And we need some babies. We need babies. Young people. Young people. This one. Islam, Brother Nazar. Thank you for being here, brother. You're not no baby, though, but thank you for being here. All right? All of these are things that comprise a nation.
That's right.
If you take any one of them away, we're not whole.
Islam.
Right? So this is the level of thinking that we got to get to. Right? All the history and all that is beautiful. Do that along with your networking skills. Islam? And with that, we can go and honor the Honorable Marcus Garvey, the Prophet Noble Jurali, because we'll be doing what they did. Islam? All right? And with that, we'll close the meeting. Everyone please rise. We'll close with prayer, as is the tradition of our Moorish forefathers. Brother Nazar. Feet at 45. Everyone hold your feet at 45 degree angle, standing on your square. Yeah, feet would be like this, heels touching. Raise 5 fingers on your left, 2 fingers on your right. Invoking the sacred presence of the 7 Elohim that created everything that ever was, is, or evermore shall be. Please repeat after me. For our visitors, please adopt a position of prayer that's comfortable for you to give homage to our collective creator. Please repeat after me. Allah,
Allah,
the Father of the universe,
the Father of the
the
universe,
Father of love,
the Father of love,
truth,
truth,
peace,
peace,
freedom,
freedom,
and justice.
and justice.
Allah is my protector,
Allah is my protector,
my guide,
my guide,
and my salvation,
and my salvation,
by night,
by night,
and by day.
and by day.
Through his holy prophet,
Through his holy prophet,
Jurali.
Jurali.
Amen.
Amen.
Islam, boys.
Islam.
Islam, what? How you been, brothers?